Okay, we are live. This is Skybound Prep reading section lesson one. Reading passages. Okay, so first of all, we want to discuss some major changes in the new SAT. All the questions are now passage based, meaning there are no more sentence completion questions to worry about. And the types of subjects each passage covers the same in all tests. So the new critical reading section will consist of one passage dealing with U.S. and world history, two passages dealing with history and social studies, and two passages dealing with science. For the science passages, there are data interpretation questions, and you'll have to analyze charts and graphs. And this is similar to the ACT science passages, if you have taken ACT or will. Okay, so we're gonna first talk about a few general approaches when you get to a reading passage. So first of all, you want to skim over the questions and plot them accordingly next to the line of the passage. These questions will specify where you can find them in the passage. Plotting questions allow you to focus your attention to portions of the passage where you can find important information for answering questions. Underline any vocab that is mentioned in the question. So given that tip, we're going to look at an example from the College Board release test. So this is the first passage of the reading section. And based on our rule here, with just skimming the questions, we first of all don't read the passage and we go straight to the questions. And we look for any line-based questions. So this does not seem to be line-based. This is the main idea. This is another one that does not contain a line. And 3 actually does. So it says, as in use in line 1 and line 65 directly most nearly means. So we would go to line 1. Keep in mind that was question number 3. So line 1, it says directly. That's the main focus of the question. We circle directly, and we draw a line here and say number 3. So the 3 would be referring to question number 3. It also asks for line 65, circle directly here, mark 3. So anytime you go through the passage, you can quickly skim through it and see which questions you want, or which lines you want to look at specifically relating to the questions asked. So that's a quick example of our first tip here. Second of all, read over the passage carefully, underlining key information that helps you understand the passage's tone and main idea. Box proper nouns, dates, and time indicators. So when just quickly read over the passage and make sure you underline keywords. So, and mostly it's in the main idea. The main idea can be seen in the first and last paragraph. So you can just underline some keywords to understand what it's about. As you come across plotted questions, read 2 sentences above and below the plotted area and then answer the related question. So let's say, I don't know, the question asks for, in line 5, anything about line 5. Rather than just reading line 5 itself, let's say he came on a winter's eve, you kind of want to read a bit above, maybe 2 or 3 sentences above, and a bit below, so you can gain the general context of the question. You never want to read just the line given. Yeah, okay. Now 4. Once you've finished to read that passage, begin answering questions that you were not able to answer on your first run through the passage, and then save main idea questions for last. So you want to run through all the questions that have line-based questions, right? And after that, you want to go look at the main idea questions, which are usually the first few, and a little bit in the middle. Read through each answer choice for each question, and underline 2 or 3 words for each choice that seem to set up the general idea of the question or the answer. Be on the lookout for things you can eliminate. Underline only what separates the answer choices from the other choices. Look for patterns within the answer choices. Do not choose the answer choice that looks right except for one word. It's most likely wrong. Half right is all wrong. So later we're going to go through this passage and we'll show you some tips on how to find keywords in the answers and how to mark out ones that seem wrong based just on one word. Okay, so any tone shifts within the passage will be reflected by the first and last sentences or paragraphs. If you are confused about any tone shifts that occur within the passage, referring back to the first and last sentences or even the first and last paragraph can help you regain your bearing. So if the question is a main idea or tone question, you usually want to look at the first paragraph and the last paragraph, read those and see if there's any tone shifts, or you can just get the main idea from them by just skimming or reading them. Okay, try to pace yourself through the new SAT. The reading section is, in this case, it is, let's see, 65 minutes for 52 questions. Now this gives you about 1.25 minutes for each question, so make sure you get your timing right and continue practicing so you know how to time yourself for reading the passages and answering the questions. Now we're going to go through question and answering tips. So first of all, you want to read the entirety of each answer choice. Answer choices must be 100% correct to be the right answer. Even if half true, if the rest isn't, then the whole answer is incorrect. And in order to tell if one word's incorrect, you can look for words such as absolute language, extreme language, and intensifying language. These all, if you ever find these words in an answer choice, they're most likely incorrect because they're just they go too far, as they said, extreme language, intensifying. Um, the SAT usually doesn't have answers that, or they usually don't like to have correct answers that are too critical or harsh, or just too like um, just yeah, their language just isn't too absolute or extreme. So yeah, if you ever find these in the answer choices, they're probably incorrect. So you can just go ahead and cross out the answer choice name. Um, Watch out for correct information that doesn't answer that particular question. Make sure the answer choice only pertains to the section of the passage that the question specifies. Correct answer choices that address the wrong section of the passage are wrong answer choices. So make sure that if you're given a line, you're only answering the question based on the given line and a few sentences above or below it. Because although it could be correct based on other parts of the passage, make sure you're focusing on the passage or the lines given. Again, answers that match your opinion but don't answer the question are incorrect. So make sure you're not answering the questions based on your opinion. Rather, you should answer the questions based on the text and what. Make sure there's no opinions or other input from outside sources to get your answer choice. Okay, questions and their answers are often similar. Use these questions to answer them others. For example, if you see different questions in multiple answer choices mentioning the isolationist nature of wolves, then they're probably the right one. Um, you can usually use other answer choices to answer, as I just said. If they're similar answer choices, then they're probably incorrect because the SAT doesn't usually like to have two similar answer choices that can be ambiguous. So they always have a clear answer, and you can usually see it based on text evidence. Um, see, what was it? Okay. When you come across something that makes an answer choice wrong, cross out the word and or phrase, then cross out the letter of the answer choice. This helps you show your work and understand why you eliminated the answer. So again, as I said, if you see a word in the answer choice that makes it look wrong, cross out the word and then cross out the answer choice, showing your work and saying that the whole answer is wrong based on one word. Okay. If the question mentions one specific sentence or word, look at the sentence and surrounding sentences if necessary. So like the question before, it says something about the word directly. So don't only read directly, read about the whole paragraph here to gain the general context of the question. If the question does not specify any lines, leave for last. This is for main idea questions. Then you can usually answer these main idea questions by reading the topic sentence in the first and last paragraphs. Answer choices will match the main idea tone of the specific area. If you're stuck between two, the one that most clearly matches what the passage says will be right. Be careful not to let what you know from the passage get mixed up with any prior knowledge you bring to the test or info you inference. So make sure after reading the passage, you should generally get an idea of what the tone is, and that tone should be able to match the answer choice. So let's say if you read the passage and you think it's a negative tone, you'd probably use a negative sign and just mark that. So in the answer choices, you can go through each one and mark if it was a positive answer choice, a negative answer choice, or a neutral one. And if it's positive or neutral, then you'd cross it out. And for a negative, you would leave it there and compare it with other negative answer choices. This usually helps answer any tone questions. Okay. When deciding between answer choices, return to the passage and identify any words or phrases that the answer choice shares with the passage. Usually you get to two answer choices that are quite similar, and you don't know how to answer it. First of all, you want to go back to the text and make sure that every single word in the answer choice is said in the text, or that doesn't come from your opinion. It can be seen straight from the text. So that's a good way to show your work and see to make sure you don't answer the question incorrectly. Again, when answering Manatee and tone questions, you want to mark the tone of each answer choice and make sure you read the first few paragraphs or first and last paragraph to see if there's any tone changes or get the main idea. Vocab questions are now strictly from the passage, so when you answer vocab questions on the NeoSAT, it often helps to read the surrounding sections of the passage to gain context. So now, since vocab questions aren't just a straight sentence and you have to understand the definitions of it, they're actually given in context, and we can actually see this in this passage. Let's go number 8. As used in line 2, form most nearly means. This is a vocab question, but this is different because it's in context within the passage. Was that it? How do you follow the form? Um, so given here a vocab question is actually in the passage, you want to read around it to gain the context, and hopefully you can get the correct answer based on what you read. Alright, so that's a big difference from in the new SAT. Okay, so now we're going to discuss the specific case double long passages. The approach to this is similar to that of other passages, but involves some special steps. So first of all, you're going to plot the question in both passages as before, but this time you'd mark passage 1, 2, or both with the symbols of 1, 2, and a B. We're going to go to a double passage here, and I'll show you an example of how we do this. Okay, this is the double passage. As you can see here, this is passage 1, passage 2, indicating it's a double passage. Now, we go to the questions first. In lines 9 through 17 of the author of passage 1, now you can notice right away this is a passage 1 question specifically, so you want to mark a 1. This seems like 1 as well, so you mark 1. This connects to that question, it's the evidence-based question, so 1. Line 19, that's actually contained in passage 1 as well, so it's a 1. Common pattern is that all the 1s are together, all the 2s are together, and the boths come in at the end. Lines 35 to 40 in passage 1, again, you mark a 1. See, this one now talks about passage 2, so what you want to do is mark a 2. This one would be 2, line 68 in passage 2. And then you would meet the both questions, which are, in this case, all 4 of these would be both, so you'd mark a B, 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 and B. You do this because it actually helps you to answer all the questions in order, and it helps you not get confused with each passage's main ideas. So read passage 1 after you've marked the question, and underline a box as before, and answer all the ones that you marked with a 1, indicating you answer all the questions that relate to passage 1. Now, after you've done that, don't straight go to passage 2. You can go to the both questions, and actually some questions can be marked, or some answer choices actually can be marked out straight away by just reading passage 1. Now, after you've actually marked out a few answer choices, or even be able to answer a few questions in the both based on just one passage, you want to go and read passage 2. Then you would want to look at the answer choices of passage 2 and answer them accordingly. After that, you would move on to the both questions and complete this section after you finish that. Now, yeah, just a second. Okay. Now, here are some tips overall for the reading section. For about 9 reading questions, you will have approximately 11 minutes to complete. For the new SAT, there's no guessing penalty, so never leave an answer choice blank. If you're having trouble deciding between answer choices, try and have what you think the answer choice is, and try to match it with the answer choice that closely resembles what you think in your head. If you find yourself short on time, you can actually scout and look through each passage to see which one's probably the easiest out of the passages. Don't spend too much time scouting, as it also cuts your time overall. And there will be fiction passages, a couple of non-fiction passages, and a historical document. Keep in mind that the historical document is probably the hardest one to digest, so you might want to leave it for last. Okay. Watch your time. Don't spend a huge amount of time on one question. You can flag the questions that gave you trouble. I usually like to circle the question number if I have trouble on it, and I'll eventually go back to it later. And take many practice tests to gain a feeling of how much time you can spend on hard questions. Again, guys, it's all about practice, and to get your timing right and perfect, so you may even have some extra time at the end to check answers. You want to practice the reading sections to get your timing right, and use the strategies for marking the questions and answering them, because they actually help you in timing a lot. Now we've gone through the tips of some little tips for the passages themselves and a few special tips for the double passage. We're going to go look at the first passage of this SAT reading here section, and we're going to use our strategies to answer the questions given. Okay, so we start the test, we open the booklet, and this is what we see, a passage. In this case, it's a fiction passage. First things first, you want to read this little passage here, little paragraph, to understand what the context of the story is on. So go ahead and read that. Where is it from, the setting, and all that. Next, don't read the passage yet. Go to the questions. And we're going to look for line-based questions, as we said before. Line number 1, that's not line-based. No, it's not. 2, no, it's not. 3, yes, it is. And we already did this as an example, but if you just joined, you want to mark after you see a line-based question, you want to go into the passage, mark the line and the question number that it corresponds to, and if it has a specific word, in this case it has directly, you want to circle that. So circle that, and line 65, circle directly here, and that is how you plot your questions. Next, you want to continue. Does this have line based? No. This has lines in the answer, but this is actually an evidence-based question relating to question 4, so these two are interconnected, and we do not plot that. 6, again, no. 7, it doesn't say like a specific line, but it does say the first paragraph, which is, we still want to mark that, so we want to bracket the first paragraph here, and mark that with the question number 7. Mark a 7 and bracket that paragraph. As used in line 2. Line 2, this is a backup question, but they also give you a line, so you want to go to line 2, mark that question number 8, and then circle form. Line 9, they give you a line, line 32. 32 here. I'll mark that. This is number 9. And so now after you, and this is also a question that relates to this one, so don't worry about that. Okay, we plotted the questions, and now we can go through answering them. And keep in mind we haven't read the passage yet still, but we're still able to answer a few questions. Let's see. As in line 1 and line 65 directly nothing means. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at this part. Don't only read the sentence, you want to read the whole paragraph here. So, alright, Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. Was that it? Hetty followed form. Hetty asked his mother to speak to his father to approach a go-between. Would she have been more receptive? Just looking at this, it seems like she's asking a lot of questions. Not exactly sure of what, but we do see he's actually asking many questions himself, as if you're in a state of panic or just he's not resolved right now. So the main words directly here. He came directly, breaking all tradition. What's that supposed to mean? All right, let's go to line 65. I asked directly because the use of a go-between takes much time. Keep in mind, go-between is used in both parts of this text. So what is it supposed to mean? We'll see. Hopefully it can lead to an answer choice. So does directly most nearly mean frankly? It does not, because in context it does not exactly mean to be frank. Confidently, you kind of sometimes want to plug it in the word. Akira came confidently, breaking all tradition. Doesn't seem like he's confident here. He's actually questioning himself on his choice. C. Without mediation. Without mediation, meaning he skipped the process. He skipped a step. Um, that could possibly be it, because as I mentioned before, a go-between is mentioned in both lines 1 and line 65. So I asked directly because of the use of a go-between. Without mediation, meaning he skipped a step. A go-between means skipping a step. So this is the one that most likely seems correct. You never want to miss. After you get the answer choice, you still want to go through each question or each answer choice. So D, with precision. Akira came with precision, breaking our tradition. That, I mean, it sounds right, but it's not said anywhere in the passage, so you can assume that. Yeah, that's crossed out. So A, B, and D don't work. C is the answer choice for number 3 without mediation. The reason why is because we found some evidence with the word go between, which implies the meaning of without mediation. Okay. So keep in mind we answered this question actually without reading the whole passage, so it helps in saving some time. So next one that is line based, line number 7. The main purpose of the first paragraph is to. Oh, what do you know? We actually read the first paragraph after just analyzing that first question for the word directly. So we've already read this. Again, he's questioning himself on a certain activity. We're not sure yet because we haven't read the passage yet. Although I have, you guys haven't yet, but we'll get to that. The main purpose of that first paragraph is to describe a culture. Um, there's nothing mentioned of a culture in that first paragraph, so nothing to assume there. That's based on your opinion. That's the word described is not exactly correct because he's actually questioning himself. B. Criticize the tradition. There's nothing being criticized at all. This is actually a pretty harsh word as well. So that's more of a negative connotation. So that's incorrect. Now, like I said, he's questioning. This is more of the literal answer choice. Now, it may sound correct at first, question the suggestion, but that's actually incorrect because there's no suggestion that's involved. Let's see. So there's no suggestion between the narrator, and the other person. So that's not exactly the correct answer. If you read the first paragraph again, he's actually asking rhetorical questions, meaning he's analyzing something. So if you were to narrow it down between C and D, You may first think it's C because there are questions mentioned, but it's not exactly a suggestion. So given suggestion, you can cross out the word suggestion because that's incorrect, because there's nothing involved there, or nothing said about a suggestion. And that, remember, like I said, if one word's incorrect, then the whole answer choice is incorrect. So the answer is D, analyze the reaction. Okay, clear enough? Alright, let's move on. Number 8, as used in line 2, form most nearly means. This is a vocab question. Let's go to line 2. Was that it? Had he followed form? Had he asked his mother to speak to his father to approach a go-between? Alrighty. So when you see a vocab question, you want to think to yourself, what word could this represent in your head? Had he followed form? In this case, I would think form would be like a procedure or a few steps to follow. Had he followed a procedure, had he asked his mother to speak to his father? So that works out, correct? So let's go down. We'll compare my word procedure to the answer choices. Appearance, that's not even close. A custom, possibly. A structure, maybe. Nature, no. So, is a custom or a structure more similar to a procedure? It would be a custom actually, because in a tradition you would follow a custom as if you're following a procedure or something given a task. So the more correct answer here would be custom. Um, and always use that rule with a vocab question. Think to yourself, what could it be, and look at the answer choice to see if it matches. All right, number 9. Why does Akira say his meeting with Chi is a matter of urgency? Now, this question is more of a stretch when I said you want to read two or above 2 lines or below 2 lines. Um, so we'll do that real quick. Madam, said Akira, forgive my disruption, but I come with a matter of urgency. Okay, a matter of urgency. That's what we're looking for here. Now we're going to read on. His voice was soft, refined. He straightened and stole a deferential peek at her face. Um, this is just a description. So you still actually want to keep on reading on because you're actually looking for why this occurred. Imagine it was a matter of urgency. In the dim light, his eyes shone with sincerity. She felt herself starting to like him. These are all descriptions of how he felt. Still no content of the matter of urgency. So let's continue. Come inside. Get out of this nasty night. Surely your business can't wait for a moment or two. This is a conversation, still no reasoning. I don't want to trouble you. Normally I would approach you more properly, and this is where it begins actually. But I've received word of a position. I've an opportunity to go to America as a dentist for a Seattle Japanese community. Bingo, that's the answer. Right there. As you can see, I've analyzed this question simply by reading a little bit further and looking for the answer given the question. So it says, why does the curiosity mean she is a matter of urgency? This is pretty literal and they're asking for a specific thing. So I continue reading given that the first few lines under it mentioned the appearance of how he felt in his emotions rather than the content of the matter of urgency. So we know that he came in for a job offer, something about the Seattle dentist community. So, what is a job offer? C. He has been offered an attractive job. No other, no other facts needed. This is from the text straight up. Answer C. Number 9. C. And we can actually go ahead and do 10 because this is an evidence-based question. Where did we see the answer choice that was so literal? Lines 41 and 42. Where's lines 41 and 42 in the answer choice? In B. The answer is B. As you can see, this question was pretty straightforward, and just like most of the line-based questions, just read the line, read a few lines above or below, and you should be able to answer the question based on the text given. And make sure not to use any of your opinion in the question or any other parts of the text. Alrighty. Let's see. Okay, so we've answered all the questions that are line based. Now we want to do the main idea questions and the ones that are not referring to a line. Now is the time we read the passage. So if you guys are listening or if you guys are watching the stream, you guys can go ahead and read the passage, or you can even pause the video and just read the passage, or you can go on College Board and it's the first practice test and you can read the passage yourself. I will leave it on the screen for a few seconds, so if you want to pause and read it, um, I'll make sure to refer back to the passage when I answer the questions. But you can go ahead and read it if you want. Okay. Leave it here for a few seconds. And please feel free to ask any questions with the chat in Skybound, because I will be answering anything if I see it. Alrighty, let's move down. The rest of the passage is right here. Okay. Now, I'm just assuming you've read the passage now, okay? So let's go to number one. Which choice best describes what happens in the passage? One character argues with another character who intrudes on her home. If you read the passage, you know that it wasn't really intruding, but more of a polite encounter. One character receives a surprising request from another character. Um, this is a pretty general answer, and it could possibly work. There's nothing wrong about it. It was surprising, and it was a request, and it was to another character. One character reminisces about the choices she has made over the years. This is incorrect because the passage is more focused on the idea of Akira and Naomi's present life and in their possible future. This may happen, but it did not it did not contain the main idea within it. One character criticizes another character. The word criticize is a little harsh, and that's not exactly what happens during the passage. So the answer is B. One character receives a surprising request from another character. Number two, which choice best describes the developmental pattern of the passage? So after you've read the passage, you should be able to gain a general gist of how it was structured. A careful analysis of a traditional practice. This is actually the opposite of what happens. There's no traditional practice involved. This is actually untraditional, as he asks for marriage in an untraditional format. B. A detailed depiction of a meaningful encounter. Another general answer choice. This may be a pattern. This is also not. There's nothing wrong about this answer choice, so we'll leave it open. C. A definitive response to a series of questions. This is actually a trick answer choice. Given that you haven't read the passage, you may think this is actually correct. If you read the first paragraph, there are a few questions. So what could the passage be about? Well, I'd probably guess a few responses. So this is incorrect because given that you read the passage, this is not exactly what happened. D. A cheerful recounting of an amusing anecdote. The word amusing here means like happy, jokingly. That's not the case here. That's incorrect. Amusing is wrong, so it makes the whole thing incorrect. The answer is B. Okay. We've already done number three. Now we do number four. Which reaction does Akira most fear from Chi? A. She will consider his proposal inappropriate. Well, let's see. Now, if you read the passage, you would know in general where this occurs, where Akira talks with Chi. I'll go ahead and just skip to where I think it was. Let's see. I believe it's here. We have an understanding. Please don't judge my candidacy by the unseemliness of this proposal. So he's asking her to not judge his honesty by the randomness of this proposal. So which reaction does Akira most fear from Chi? So he's kind of scared of her judging him, correct? Alright. She will consider his proposal inappropriate. That is actually pretty similar to judging what he's going to ask. B, show a mistake is evidence for immaturity. The word immaturity, you cannot assume that judging could be anything, but immaturity is a specific feeling, so that's incorrect. C, she will consider his unscheduled visit an imposition. That's just not right, because Akira recognizes that this unscheduled visit is a nuisance, but he's more scared of her rejecting her based on how it's like inappropriate. She will underestimate the sincerity of his emotions. Nothing, this is not mentioned in the passage, nothing about his emotions, especially in that part, so that's incorrect. So answer is A, she will consider his proposal inappropriate. Now where do we find this? Oh, we actually found it here, lines 33 or 63, my bad. So the answer is C, lines 63 to 64. This is a passage or evidence-based question. So wherever you think you found the evidence, you can go back to it, find the lines, and answer the next answer choice. Okay, so, and usually these the questions that are connected with past or evidence-based, they're either hit or miss. Usually you can you get the answers right, then you get both right. If you get it wrong, you get both wrong. So make sure you know exactly where the evidence is, because it usually leads to the correct answer choice above. 6. In the passage, Akira addresses Chi with A, an affection but not genuine love. Does it talk about anything about his feelings toward her, especially with love? That's not mentioned, but you can assume that. Again, don't use your opinion to answer questions. That's incorrect. B, objectivity but not complete impartiality. This is completely based on opinion and not based on what the text says. C, amusement but not mocking disparagement. There's nothing mocking about his tone. In fact, in the passage, as you scroll above, you can actually see him being quite polite and through words such as calling her madam. At a point somewhere, he bows to her. There you go, bowing, showing a sign of respect. So, what do we see here? Respect but not utter deference. Again, reading through the passage and finding specific details is the key to answering questions correctly. In this case, the answer is D, respect but not utter deference. And in fact, we've actually answered all the questions in this passage. So, that was a general overview of how you would tackle a reading passage in the reading section. First of all, we can do a quick review. You want to look at read the first caption of the paragraph to understand what it's about. Go through all the line-based questions, pop them in the passage, answer them, read the passage, and then answer the main idea questions or the questions that aren't marked with line-based questions. Okay, that is a general overview of the reading passage. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask on the Skybound Prep chat, what you're watching right now. Let's see. Okay, there is someone in the chat. Hi, my name is Bob the Builder. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, if there are no questions, then this is the end to the session. I've basically had an overview of the reading passages, and hopefully you have a few tips to go off of to answer to do better in the reading passages on the SAT. If there are no questions, then I will be signing out. Okay, thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day and good luck on your next SAT.